Have you ever felt as if a part of your story exists somewhere beyond your reach? Not a future version of you, not a past version of you, but another version entirely, one shaped by choices you never made and roads you never followed. Every turning point creates a question that never fully disappears. What would have happened if you had chosen differently? Quantum reality opens the door to a startling possibility. What if those unrealized paths are not lost at all? What if another version of you is living the life that emerged from a different decision, a different chance, a different moment? Tonight we explore one of the most fascinating mysteries of consciousness and possibility, the version of you that chose a different path, and what its existence may reveal about who you are becoming today. The version of you that never disappeared. Most people think of life as a sequence of choices. You make a decision, follow a path, and leave all the other possibilities behind. The moment a choice is made, the alternatives seem to disappear. The road taken becomes reality, while the roads not taken fade into imagination. That is how it appears. Yet there is something strange about unrealized possibilities. They do not completely vanish. Years after making a decision, people still wonder about the life they did not live. They still imagine the city they never moved to, the opportunity they never accepted, the relationship they never pursued, the dream they never followed. The mind continues returning to these possibilities because part of us senses that every choice contains more than a single outcome. Imagine standing at a crossroads. One path leads left, one path leads right. The moment you choose, one journey begins. But what happens to the other? Common sense says it simply disappears, yet consciousness often behaves as though the unanswered path still carries a certain presence, not because it physically exists somewhere we can measure, but because it continues living within the field of possibility. Quantum theory introduced ideas that challenged ordinary assumptions about reality. At deeper levels, multiple possibilities can exist before a specific outcome becomes visible. While interpretations differ, this concept invites a fascinating question. What if the life you did not choose never completely vanished from the landscape of possibility? Imagine a book containing many chapters. You read one chapter and continue forward. The unread chapters still exist within the book, even though you have not experienced them. Human life may contain a similar mystery. Every major decision creates a version of reality that becomes your lived experience. Yet the unrealized possibilities remain part of the larger map of what could have been. This is why certain moments can feel strangely emotional. You meet someone and wonder how life would look if you had met them years earlier. You discover a passion and wonder what would have happened if you had pursued it from the beginning. You achieve a goal and wonder how different things might be if you had taken another route. These thoughts are not always regretful. Sometimes they are reminders of the vast number of possibilities contained within a single life. The version of you that never became a musician, the version of you that never changed careers, the version of you that never left home, the version of you that took a completely different risk. Each represents a different expression of potential, a different arrangement of choices, a different story emerging from the same source. The fascinating part is that these possibilities can still teach you something. They reveal hidden desires, hidden strengths, hidden directions that may still be available in new forms. The other version of you is not valuable because it exists somewhere else. It is valuable because it reveals dimensions of yourself that have not fully disappeared. Imagine a tree growing from a single seed. One branch extends toward the sunlight. Another branch grows in a different direction. A third branch takes its own path. Although each branch is unique, they all emerge from the same root system. Human potential works in a similar way. Many possible lives emerge from the same consciousness. Many futures emerge from the same starting point. The path you chose became your reality. Yet the qualities, talents, and possibilities represented by the other paths may still exist within you. This is why the other version of you never truly disappeared. It remains present as unrealized potential, as a hidden capability, as a reminder that your identity is larger than any single decision you have ever made. The life you are living now is only one expression of what was possible, not because the other versions are gone, but because possibility itself is far greater than the path you happen to choose. And perhaps that is the first quantum secret. The other version of you is not merely a fantasy. It is a reflection of the countless possibilities that still exist within the person you are today, a reminder that your story has never been limited to a single road, and neither is your future, the reality built from the choice you never made. Every life is shaped by decisions. Some decisions seem small at the time, others feel enormous. Yet regardless of their size, each choice quietly changes the direction of the journey that follows. A single conversation can alter a career. A single opportunity can change where you live. A single moment of courage can introduce an entirely different future. It becomes clear that life is not built only from major events. It is built from countless decisions layered on top of one another, creating the reality you now call your own. But every choice contains a hidden question. What would have happened if you had chosen differently? Imagine standing before two doors. You open one and walk through it. Immediately, a new sequence of experiences begins. New people enter your life, new lessons appear, new challenges shape your character. The door you opened becomes your reality. Yet behind the unopened door remains a mystery, a different chain of events, a different collection of experiences, a different version of the story. Most people rarely think about this during ordinary moments. Yet there are times when the question returns unexpectedly. You hear about a city you almost moved to. You remember an opportunity you declined. You think about a relationship that never developed. Suddenly another possibility appears in your imagination, not as a regret, as a curiosity. You begin wondering about the reality that could have emerged from a different decision. Quantum ideas often explore the role of possibility before a particular outcome becomes visible. While we experience a single path unfolding in front of us, reality frequently presents many potential directions before one becomes a lived experience. This concept becomes especially fascinating when applied to human life. Every decision does more than change an event. It changes the trajectory. Imagine two travelers beginning at the same location. They walked only a few steps apart. The difference seems insignificant, yet as time passes, the distance grows. Months later, they may be in different countries. Years later, they may be living entirely different lives. Choices operate in a similar way. The immediate difference may appear small. The long-term consequences can be extraordinary. The reality built from the choice you never made is fascinating because it highlights how much potential exists within a single moment. The version of you who accepted the opportunity, the version of you who took the risk, the version of you who stayed, the version of you who left. Each path creates a different collection of experiences, different skills, different relationships, different lessons, different perspectives. Yet something important must be understood. The purpose of imagining these alternate realities is not to become trapped in them. Many people use what-if questions to punish themselves. They replay old decisions and imagine that happiness existed only on the path they did not choose. But this assumption is rarely true. Every path contains gains and losses. Every path contains challenges and opportunities. The reality you did not choose would have included its own uncertainties, struggles, and unexpected turns. No road is perfect. The deeper value of exploring these possibilities lies elsewhere. It reveals how much power exists within a single choice. It reveals how many futures can emerge from a single moment. And it reveals that the person you are today was shaped not only by what happened, but by what you repeatedly chose. Imagine a sculptor standing before a block of stone. Every cut removes one possibility and reveals another. The final sculpture emerges through countless decisions. Human life unfolds in much the same way. Each choice removes certain futures while allowing others to take shape. The reality you are living now is the result of those choices accumulating over time. The fascinating part is that the reality built from the choice you never made still serves a purpose. It reminds you that life contains more possibilities than the mind often recognizes. It reminds you that different futures can emerge from different decisions. And most importantly, it reminds you that the power that shaped those unrealized realities still exists within you today. Because while you cannot return to the crossroads of the past, you continue standing at new crossroads every day. The other reality may never become your present, but the ability to create new realities through the choices you make today has never left you. And that may be the deeper quantum secret. The road you did not take is not important because it exists somewhere else. It is important because it reveals how much possibility still exists in the road you are walking now. Why you sometimes feel the pull of another life. There are moments when life feels strangely familiar and unfamiliar at the same time. You may be sitting in your own home, living your ordinary routine, and suddenly feel as though something is missing. Not a specific object, not a specific person, something more difficult to describe. A feeling, a possibility, a sense that another version of your story could have unfolded differently. This feeling appears in unexpected moments. While watching a train leave a station, while walking through a city you have never visited before, while meeting someone who seems strangely familiar, while imagining a career, a dream, or a path you never pursued. For a brief moment, your attention drifts beyond the life you are currently living and touches a different possibility. Many people dismiss these moments as simple imagination, yet they often carry a deeper emotional quality. They feel less like fantasy and more like a glimpse of something that almost belonged to you. Imagine standing on a hill, overlooking a vast landscape filled with roads. You are traveling on one road, but from your position you can see many others stretching toward different horizons. Each road leads somewhere. Each road contains experiences you have never experienced. Even though you remain on your current path, the existence of those other routes creates a strange awareness. You realize how many possibilities have always surrounded you. Human consciousness occasionally experiences something similar. The mind is capable of imagining futures, alternatives, and unrealized versions of reality with extraordinary detail. This ability is not a flaw. It is part of what makes human awareness unique. Quantum discussions often explore possibility as something that exists before a specific outcome becomes visible. Before a choice becomes reality, multiple directions may remain open. While we experience only one path directly, the awareness of other possibilities never completely disappears. This may help explain why certain dreams continue calling to us years after we leave them behind. A person who never became an artist may still feel something awaken whenever they see great art. A person who never traveled the world may feel a deep emotional response when hearing stories about distant places. A person who chose security over adventure may sometimes feel a quiet longing when imagining the road they did not take. These feelings are not necessarily signs that a mistake was made. They may be reminders that human potential is larger than any single life chapter. The pull of another life often emerges when an unrealized part of yourself seeks recognition. Perhaps there was a talent that was never fully explored, a passion that was postponed, a curiosity that was ignored, a direction that was abandoned before it had the chance to grow. Even if the original path is no longer available, the qualities behind it may still exist within you. Imagine a musician who never performed professionally. The dream may have changed, the years may have passed, yet the love of music remains. The potential did not vanish completely, it simply found a different place within the person's life. This is why the pull of another life can feel so powerful. It is rarely about the specific details. It is often about the qualities that path represents: freedom, creativity, adventure, connection, purpose, growth. The mind focuses on the life that never happened. The deeper message often points toward something still alive within you. Another reason this feeling appears is because consciousness naturally explores possibility. The mind constantly asks questions. What if I had chosen differently? What if I had gone there? What if I had said yes? What if I had stayed? These questions are not always expressions of regret. Sometimes they are expressions of awareness. They remind us that reality could have unfolded in countless ways. They reveal the extraordinary complexity hidden within every decision. The important thing is not becoming trapped in these alternate stories. The goal is not to abandon the life you have. The goal is to understand what these feelings are trying to reveal. Very often, the pull of another life is actually a message from your current life. It points toward a forgotten desire, a neglected strength, an unexplored possibility, something within you that still wishes to be expressed. And perhaps this is the deeper quantum mystery. The other life is not pulling you backward into the past. It is pulling your attention toward potential that still exists in the present. The dream may look different now. The path may look different now. The circumstances may be different now, but the deeper possibility remains alive. That is why the feeling never completely disappears. Not because another life is calling you away from this one, but because parts of yourself are still waiting to be discovered within the life you are living today. And every time you feel that mysterious pull, it may be reminding you that your story contains more possibilities than you have yet allowed yourself to explore. The hidden possibilities living beyond your current path. Every person lives inside a visible reality. You wake up in a particular place. You follow a familiar routine. You carry certain memories, responsibilities, relationships, and goals. This reality becomes so familiar that it begins to feel complete. The mind assumes that what is visible represents the full extent of what is possible, yet a deeper mystery exists. Your current life is only one expression of your potential. Imagine standing in a room with hundreds of doors. You walk through one door and discover an entire world beyond it. After spending years exploring that world, it becomes easy to forget that countless unopened doors still exist behind you. Human consciousness often functions the same way. The path you are living feels real because it is real. The experiences you have gathered feel important because they are important. But reality is much larger than the single path currently occupying your attention. Hidden beyond your present circumstances are possibilities that have never been explored, abilities that have never been tested, strengths that have never been required, dreams that have never been fully pursued. Many people unknowingly place limits on themselves because they assume their past defines the boundaries of their future. They begin saying things such as, "This is just who I am. This is how my life works. This is all that is available to me." Without realizing it, they create invisible walls around their own potential. The fascinating part is that these walls often exist only in perception. Quantum reality introduced a powerful idea. Before an outcome becomes visible, multiple possibilities may exist. The observed reality is only one expression emerging from a larger field of potential, whether applied to physics or used as a metaphor for consciousness. The lesson remains intriguing. What you currently experience may not represent the full range of what is possible. Imagine an acorn lying on the ground. If you judged it only by what you can see, you would miss almost everything it contains. You would see something small and ordinary. You would not see the roots. You would not see the branches. You would not see the massive tree hidden within it. Yet the potential already exists. Human beings carry similar hidden dimensions. There are versions of your future that remain invisible because the conditions needed to reveal them have not yet appeared. There may be talents within you that have never encountered the right challenge. There may be wisdom within you that has never encountered the right question. There may be courage within you that has never encountered the right opportunity. This is why life can sometimes surprise you. People often discover strengths they never knew they possessed, not because those strengths suddenly appeared, because circumstances finally revealed what was already there. The hidden possibilities beyond your current path are not necessarily alternate realities waiting somewhere else. Many of them exist within you right now, waiting, unexpressed, unexplored, unrecognized. Imagine carrying a map while only viewing one small section of it. The map contains mountains, rivers, forests, cities, and countless roads, yet your attention remains focused on a single corner. The rest remains hidden, not because it is absent, but because it has not yet entered your field of view. Consciousness can become trapped in a similar way. The mind becomes so focused on the current chapter that it forgets how much remains undiscovered. This is why periods of uncertainty can be surprisingly important. When old directions stop making sense, new possibilities begin appearing. When familiar identities start dissolving, hidden aspects of yourself begin emerging. When certainty fades, potential becomes visible. The unknown is not always empty space. Sometimes it is unexplored possibility, and perhaps this is the deeper quantum secret. The life you are living today is not the final expression of who you are. It is one chapter within a much larger field of potential. Beyond your current path exist abilities you have not yet developed, perspectives you have not yet gained, experiences you have not yet imagined. The other version of you represents those hidden possibilities, not to make you regret the road you chose, but to remind you that your story is still unfolding. The future remains open. The field of possibility remains vast. And somewhere beyond the limits of your current assumptions, aspects of yourself are still waiting to be discovered. They are not lost. They are simply waiting for the moment when your awareness becomes ready to meet them, when two destinies begin echoing across reality. There are moments in life that feel difficult to explain through ordinary logic. You find yourself drawn toward something for reasons you cannot fully understand. A place feels familiar before you have ever visited it. A skill feels natural before you have spent much time developing it. A dream keeps returning year after year, refusing to disappear no matter how much time passes. It can feel as though something is calling from beyond the boundaries of your current story. Most people dismiss these experiences as coincidence, yet there is another way to look at them. What if these moments occur because possibility leaves traces behind? Imagine dropping a stone into a still lake. The point of impact remains in one location, but the ripples travel far beyond it. Long after the stone disappears beneath the surface, the movement it created continues spreading outward. Human choices may operate in a similar way. A decision is made, a path is chosen, a life begins unfolding, yet the unrealized possibilities connected to that choice can continue influencing the imagination, curiosity, and inner world of the person who made it. Not because another life is physically sending messages, but because possibility itself leaves an imprint on consciousness. Think about how often people feel unexpectedly fascinated by something that has no obvious connection to their current life. A person working in business feels a lifelong attraction to music. A scientist feels deeply connected to art. A teacher feels drawn toward exploration and adventure. The attraction often appears irrational, yet it may reveal a hidden dimension of potential that never fully disappeared. Quantum discussions frequently explore the idea that reality contains more possibilities than the single outcome we observe. While only one path becomes direct experience, the awareness of alternative possibilities can remain surprisingly alive within the mind. This is where the idea of echoes becomes powerful. An echo is not the original sound. It is the lingering presence of something that has already occurred. Certain dreams, interests, and intuitions can feel like echoes from paths that were never fully explored. Imagine walking through a canyon. You speak once, and your voice returns from multiple directions. The sound reaches you again and again, slightly altered but still recognizable. Life can sometimes feel similar. A possibility you left behind years ago suddenly returns through a conversation. An abandoned dream returns through a new opportunity. A forgotten passion returns through an unexpected encounter. The echo appears again, not demanding that you live another life, inviting you to recognize something that still belongs within this one. The fascinating part is that these echoes often become stronger during periods of transformation. When an old identity begins dissolving, hidden possibilities start moving closer to awareness. The mind becomes less attached to familiar definitions. The future becomes more open. New directions become easier to imagine. It is during these moments that you may feel as though two destinies are somehow standing near one another. The life you have been living and the life that might have been. For a brief moment, both become visible, not as competing realities, as reflections of possibility. One reveals where your choices have brought you. The other reveals qualities, talents, and directions that remain available in new forms. This is why these experiences should not be interpreted as reasons for regret. Regret looks backward and wishes reality were different. Awareness looks deeper and asks what can still be learned. The purpose of the echo is not to make you abandon your current path. The purpose of the echo is to show you how much potential still exists within it. A dream abandoned 20 years ago may return as a hobby, a passion, a lesson, or a source of inspiration. A path never taken may still reveal qualities that can be expressed today. Nothing valuable is completely lost. Possibility often finds new ways to emerge, and perhaps that is the deeper quantum mystery. The other version of you is not important because it exists somewhere beyond reach. It is important because it reveals dimensions of yourself that continue influencing your journey. The echoes are reminders that your life contains more depth than the visible story. Reminders that potential never disappears as easily as the mind assumes. Reminders that every destiny leaves traces within the field of consciousness. When those traces become strong enough, they begin echoing through your awareness, not to pull you away from your path, but to help you recognize the larger landscape of possibility surrounding it. And in that recognition, something remarkable happens. The line between the life you lived and the life you imagined becomes less important because both are pointing toward the same truth. You are far greater than any single version of yourself could ever fully express. The moment you discover who you could have become. Fiam stole Morse on the false self. For most of life, people imagine that discovering who they could have become would be a painful experience. They assume it would lead to regret. Regret for opportunities missed. Regret for choices made. Regret for paths abandoned long ago. The mind often creates a simple story. Somewhere there exists a better version of me, and I failed to become that person. Yet this assumption hides a deeper truth. The purpose of exploring unrealized possibilities is not to mourn them. It is to understand yourself more completely. Imagine standing before a mirror, unlike any mirror you have ever seen, showing your physical appearance. It reveals every talent you never developed, every courage you never expressed, every dream you never pursued, and every hidden strength that remained dormant within you. At first, such a reflection might feel overwhelming, but if you looked carefully, you would notice something important. The reflection is not showing a stranger. It is showing parts of you, possibilities that belong to your own potential from the very beginning. This is why the discovery can be so powerful. The moment you begin recognizing who you could have become, you also begin recognizing how much still exists within you. Many people believe potential disappears with time. They imagine that every missed opportunity permanently closes a door. Yet human consciousness rarely works that way. A dream may change form. A talent may find a different expression. A lesson may arrive through an unexpected path. Potential often survives much longer than the mind expects. Quantum theory introduced the idea that reality contains more possibilities than the single outcome we observe. Whether viewed scientifically or symbolically, this concept offers a fascinating perspective on personal growth. The person you became is real, but the possibilities you did not fully explore remain part of the larger field from which your life emerged. Imagine a musician who never performed on a stage. Years pass, life moves in different directions, yet the love of music remains alive. It appears through teaching, it appears through creativity, it appears simply through appreciation. The original path was not taken, yet something essential continued existing. This is true for countless aspects of human life. The explorer, the artist, the inventor, the leader, the creator, the teacher. These possibilities do not always vanish because a particular road was not followed. They often remain hidden beneath the surface, waiting for a new form of expression. The moment you discover who you could have become is often far different from what people expect. It does not arrive as sadness. It arrives as understanding. You suddenly see how many qualities have been trying to emerge throughout your life. You recognize patterns that once seemed unrelated. You understand why certain dreams never completely disappeared. You understand why specific interests continued returning. You understand why particular possibilities kept calling your attention. The discovery reveals that these were not random attractions. They were clues. Clues pointing toward dimensions of yourself that still wished to be known. Imagine finding an old map you drew as a child. The destinations may be different now. The routes may have changed. The person who drew the map may no longer exist in the same form. Yet hidden within those old markings are important truths about who you have always been. The map still contains information, not about where you should have gone, about what mattered to you. Life often works in the same way. The unrealized versions of yourself become mirrors. They reveal values, passions, strengths, curiosities, dreams, not to make you live in the past, but to help you understand the deeper structure of your own potential. And then a remarkable realization begins to emerge. The question was never really, who could I have become? The deeper question is, what part of that possibility still lives within me today? This changes everything, because the other version of you stops feeling distant. It stops feeling lost. It stops feeling unreachable. You begin seeing it as a source of insight rather than regret, a source of inspiration rather than comparison, a source of possibility rather than disappointment. And perhaps this is the final quantum secret. The other version of you was never meant to make you wish for another life. It was meant to help you recognize the hidden dimensions of this one. The person you could have become is not standing somewhere beyond reach. Pieces of that person are already here, hidden within your interests, hidden within your dreams, hidden within your untapped abilities, hidden within the choices still waiting to be made. The moment you discover who you could have become is not the end of a journey. It is the beginning of a new understanding. You realize that potential was never locked inside the roads you did not take. It has been traveling with you all along, waiting patiently for the moment you finally recognize how much of it still remains available. And in that moment, the other version of you stops being a mystery. It becomes a reminder of how much possibility still exists within the person you are becoming right now. The greatest mystery is not whether another version of you exists. The greater mystery is what that possibility reveals about your own life. Every path contains lessons. Every choice opens one door while closing another. Yet the purpose of imagining the other version of yourself is not to regret what could have been. It is to recognize the power of what still can be. Somewhere beyond the roads not taken lies a simple truth. Your future is still being shaped by the choices you make today. The other version of you may represent possibility, potential, and unrealized paths. But this version of you is the one holding the pen. And perhaps the greatest quantum secret is that the life you have been searching for is not waiting in another reality. It is waiting for you to create it here.